Today, we're talking burnout, we're talking flow state, and we're talking Taoism. All really fascinating topics. And it's about how to balance the yin and the yang in you so that you can prevent burnout, so that you can enter flow state, which is such a cool concept. And it's about being regulated even when you're doing something stressful. Wow, what a cool concept, isn't it? So let's dive into this fascinating conversation. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you check out the book as well. Welcome, Dave. Let's dive right in. You talk a lot about burnout, so tell us why, because I know you have a personal experience with that.
Why? Well, I think as a male, I tend to do it in a lot more extremes, or from our yang essence and energy, and we're told more so. I mean, it still happens in females, of course, but I think culture as a whole is optimize, do more, be more, press, and then we think we're doing wellness. And I think a lot of the biohacking and optimization is an awesome move in the right direction. That's kind of got a dangerous territory too, where I need to be in an ice bath or I can't feel calm. Now I've got a crux. So I think there's a massive shift happening, not by choice. I think people are starting to realize that, hey, I'm killing myself chasing here like a mouse on a wheel, and maybe not getting as far as I could if I let go. So I guess that's the 1 minute version of it.
Yeah, I think what you're speaking to is like this balance, because we could use all these strategies to just push ourselves harder, right?
Yeah. And you think you're working in recovery, but you're measuring. A lot of people get sick of all the wearables because we're now like living our life stressed out about our wearable score. So although there's a time and place for them, I love these tools. There always has to be a place which, I mean, I've got tattooed on me, just be. Just be sometime. No nothing, no ice bath, no sauna. Just relax and be. And I think that's, as simple as it sounds, a crucial tool that we rarely access.
It's very true. Well, tell me about that, because it is really difficult to just be and do nothing. How do you do that?
With great difficulty. So being an entrepreneur that always bit off more than I could chew, chronic ADHD personality, like I need to be doing something. So it takes training, and I study flow state as well, which is all interconnected. And you can't, and even when I used to run yoga studios as well, and like people would come in once and meditation didn't work. I hated that. Well, also, if I went and tried to run 5 kilometers or 5 miles right now, if I haven't trained for it, it's going to feel horrible. But once I practice, now I get the runner's high, and I experience this beautiful runner's high and get the experience of running. So I think what we need to do is understand it's a skill. And you can't just meditate once or do breathwork once or do yoga once and tap into the thousands of years of magic in one session. So I think we're very impatient. We think meditation should be master it tomorrow or I'm done. I need an output today or I'm done. And a lot of stuff will come up. Obviously, it'll challenge who we are. And if you can do meditation with the mirror of yourself and watch all the impulses and why you're so irritated, there'll be a lot of wisdom just in that exercise too. But yeah, I think training is the lack of a better word. A long-winded answer is repetition. Start small. Start with 2-3 minute meditations. Get aware of the body. Do things like yoga, breath work, all these different things, because they'll make you more connected to the body. They'll allow you to be able to let go when you sit. Some people do a relaxing breath, and you'll say, do a relaxing breath, and they go, like, yeah, that's not going to give you the most relaxing energy. So yeah, it's not a marathon, but it's definitely not an overnight sprint.
How do you handle personally being bored?
Yeah, well, I don't have that. I don't get too bored too much because I've got way too much on my plate. But I mean, it does happen. Like when we go on a holiday and you've got nothing to do, it's a shock to the system. We become addicted to needing to do. It becomes our identity. So again, I think it's practice. And if I do go on a holiday and I haven't been good on my daily practice and getting in nature and I surf, that's going to be a really irritating trip for me because I haven't been practicing it. But if I'm in rhythm and I've been doing a bit of breath work, maybe not the meditation I like, finding some calmity or some yin in my lifestyle, I should be able to transit in more smoothly. But it's tricky, and trying to be disciplined and I'm very Taoist in my philosophy. So it's all back to yin and yang. So looking at our day and go, hey, today was all yang. I may need some yin or I'm going to burn out. And I do burn out, especially with ADHD. If you go 2-3 days without the yin, I am useless on day 4. I can't read a book. I can't write. I can't type. I get that brain fry. And it's because if you go, well, hey, you just did 3-4 days of excess yang, there's going to be a cost. You know, you're going to pay the cost, and you're going to try and hide that cost with caffeine and nicotine and anything we can, but you've got to pay the price of nature.
So take us back to why you even got interested in all of this. Like, what happened in your personal life?
Yeah. So like most people that head down find this path is often through burnout. So I was chronic burnout. And at the time in my mid-20s, I had a fair bit of success on paper. And I was just not very fulfilled by what I was doing. I had the golden handcuffs. I'm like, I just need more. I need to do more businesses, more countries, more domination, more. And that ended up exploding with my health. If I don't, it's a two-edged sword. I'll break out with migraines if I burn the candle too long. So my brain just says too much yang, too much overload, collapse. So in a way, it's a good thing because it forces me shorter term to correct myself. But bad sign is I get migraines, which no one likes. But yeah, does that answer your question? How we got in? No, that's how I got started. And then very fortunately, I had a friend that was a Taoist master, Chinese medicine practitioner, and he would kind of just laugh at me and goes, yeah, you've got yang overload. You've got a liver explosion. It's all work. It's all caffeine. It's all heavy lifting. You're having a yang over fire. And that really connected to me. So I'm like, tell me more. So poor Dave has been, he didn't sign up to be my mentor for the 15 years of questions, but he did in that moment. And anytime I'd have a issue, I'd reach out and go, hey, like, what's going on here? I had 3 migraines this week. I thought I was more relaxed. And he would just ask a few questions. And he's like, no, it's that. You got to treat the fire. You got to cool your system down. You run hot as it is. And we need to calm the fire or put out the fire with some cooling. And that would always work. So that got my curiosity. And then I went on a great journey of yoga, breathwork, meditation, a lot of different modalities over a number of years. And it ended up intertwining more and more of what I did myself. And then I ended up building a business, which was called mixed modality training, which was mixing the yin and yang principles into one session. So I kind of shaped that. And then, yeah, the more we study, or more I study, the more we figure out that actually high performance is yin and yang, where we all think it's all yang. Where actually the mastery of flow, peak performance, longevity, sustainability is being able to dance between the yin and yang in your life and have that perfect marriage.
So how did burnout actually look and feel like for you? Like, how did you know I'm burnt out? I think it creeps up. I've been burnt out, but more from emotional, heavy load. But for me, it would mix with, I want to do more. Like, that's kind of the way that I would combat the emotions. Yeah. And then just, I'm exhausted. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
But it creeps up slowly, right? It's very hard to catch.
Yeah, I think early, like before the migraines, if you're pattern, you start to get triggered. You've got a short fuse. Everything irritates you that 3 days later after some rest no longer irritate you. So I think, and as a male, we come out generally in anger. So I'd be like, I don't know if you've seen the TV show Ari Gold, but he was like the most overly masculine yang explosion you'd ever see. And that was me when I was in the density of business and I had 2,500 staff. My phone would go across the room. I'd be whacking laptops. And that was like the introduction of going, hey, well, you thought it was funny on the TV show, but that started to get out of control. And then you move into, I was fortunate to get migraines in a way because I was disabled, couldn't see, couldn't speak. I got tests. They all thought I had strokes, diabetes, my bloods were fine. It was just this explosion that come out. So that was like the tipping point where I'm like, I can't live like this. And I think I was lucky because a lot of people don't get the migraines. So they may have been caught in my same state of just angry, frustrated, triggered, hard to deal along with. Everyone's out to get them. These things all manifest and become your identity in life. So as much as I've hated migraines and the pain I've suffered, I actually feel like it's been the greatest teacher and a lesser pain than if I kept going on that route without a explosion. So it's a catch-22.
Yeah, totally. And I think eventually you would get sick in some way, right? Because the body talks.
I was always sick. Yeah. Always sick, always allergies, just everything affected you. Because the body in a fight or flight state, the immune system shatters, which is well documented today. So yeah, that's another obvious one that, again, people just think, oh, it's normal. We're always sick. It's flu season. It's cold. Oh, it's a change of seasons. Well, maybe not.
So you're still an entrepreneur. Like, what has shifted and how do you catch these things? How do you pay attention to these things?
Yeah. So falling into old traps is one thing that's super difficult because it's like you live with that tendency. And maybe my personality, even at birth, had that tendency of do more. So it's very, very tricky. And having a morning calm is just because I wake up buzzing with energy. Like I'm ready to work. I wake up at 5. I don't hit the alarm. I haven't hit the alarm in years. I'm ready to go. But I know if I start my day with that much intensity, there'll be a problem later. So just little things like every morning on the big screen, I put on YouTube, like a different ambient sound from different parts, sometimes Native American, can be from all over the world. And just having that in the background till my first call is amazing how much that carries into my calls. I'm much more calm on my calls. I don't finish these calls with a sweat. I'm much more balanced. So that's like my favorite hack. Regulating the breath is an obvious one because my breath, I wake up. I don't know if it's excess trauma or whatnot. I wake up like I've just escaped a tiger. It's super
Wow.
frustrating. That's one thing I'm trying to calm at night more and have more. Even though my rest scores look good on Whoop and all the different, like I sleep like a baby if you watch them, but I know that's only showing part of the picture. And I still do go to bed with obviously some residual effects of whatever it is that, maybe I haven't dealt with or overcome yet. But yeah, the magical morning, it's kind of a cliche, but it works so well for me. Calming, cooling drinks like a greens, water, calm, cool. I don't do a good job of avoiding my caffeine for an hour. I'm probably 30, 45 minutes in, I'll have it. But I think that's another evolution is don't go to your phone, caffeinate too early and get too hyped up. It's kind of like if you run a 400-meter race and you use all your energy out of the blocks, you're back 400 of the day. Maybe you're needing a nap in the day, you get brain fog. Brain fog's another thing that I think shows up when you're burning the candle. And that's a great teacher as well, as when do I sit there like a zombie, almost unable to work? And people with ADHD, I think, will notice that. They feel that maybe even more.
Yep. I go to matcha, so it's better than coffee, and I really enjoy that. Yeah. But like you, I used to be very energetic all the time. I think moving to Costa Rica helped because the energy here is so mellow. Like people are falling asleep, and it's hot, so that really helps too. Just mellows you out.
Yeah.
Hello there. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. I appreciate you so much. And if you can just take one little moment and help me make this podcast a success and support us, please just subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave me a little comment. I want to hear from you. How's this landing for you? Is this interesting? What are you learning? What are your takeaways? Again, thank you for being here. I love you, and let's get back into it. Can you explain to us what is yin and yang?
Yeah. Well, so could be a whole hour-long discussion itself. But yin and yang is, as we know it, masculine and feminine is one side. But the Taoists understood that all of the universe, from atoms to the universe, dark and night, sun and the moon, masculine, female, angry, sympathetic, nurture, these are all opposites of the yin and yang. The masculine and the feminine is what's kind of been modern, culturalized and whatnot. But even if you look at food, inflammatory is yang, anti-inflammatory is yin. If your diet's too inflammatory, there's going to be a yang heat explosion. So we can almost look at every element of life and find that balance. And the Taoists nearly 3,000 years ago understood this, and they understood that they need to work in balance. And as the symbol shows, it's never black or white. There's a dot in each. You can have elements of each. It's never 100. You don't necessarily have to be 100% yin or 100% yang. Like there can be a blend. So having that as a teacher is great for my wellness. It's my health, my diet. I look at it through fitness. A lot of women maybe do fast go and living. And one of the criticisms of Bali and Costa Rica is you can lose your drive. It's so yin. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. Depends on the person, but that's like an example of people say I lost all my money when I went to Bali. This is what we hear all the time. It's like the trap. I know a lot of people have done well in Bali, but that would be an extreme of one energy. And even in leadership, if you're too nurturing, too understanding, too much of the feminine, you may get walked over, not get enough done. But if you're too masculine as a leader and you don't have that nurture, you don't have that softer side, people aren't going to probably want to work for you for too long. So literally every aspect of life, you can look at where's the yin and yang, and generally what they call, it's kind of a cliche of sitting on the fence, but generally the middle way is the way. I'm not here to debate vegan or carnivore. What's probably the safest bet on a scientific level? The middle way is probably going to be the safest way. So you can almost
You're talking to a vegan here, so
oh,
13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's great reasons to go vegan beyond science, and and science works short term for some carnivores, and that's with like, hey, the excess yang, which we call, is working, but the Tao works on a longer time frame. So just because you've got rid of your IBS with one thing, nature's evolutionary. It's longer time frames. So I think people can also, and like me doing yang work can work really well this week. I can get a lot done, and it may not even show up for weeks, sometimes months, years. I don't know if you've watched the Rafa documentary yet, Rafael Nadal. An incredible story of yin and yang. To 25, he was excess yang, the crazy uncle that wouldn't let him rest, work through injuries, waters for weak type mentality, push, push, push. And it got him to 10 world titles, number one. But at 25, he broke and started losing to Federer, started losing to Djokovic, injuries, personal life, depression, had to see a psychiatrist, didn't enjoy life anymore. So the yang did get him a fair way. And fortunately, Carlos Moya came in and said, hey, we need to create some balance here. So he brought the fun back in, the recovery, the joy. And anyway, he said, hey, not only did I get back to number one, I enjoyed life again, my family, like everything. So it was an incredible story of, they didn't mention the words yin and yang, but it was the story of yin and yang. And again, yang can work for a while. Just like I don't believe in the carnivore diet, but it probably can work for a while. Does it work?
For a short term, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I ran my life on that for a long time. Yeah, for on that, intensity and I couldn't even, like, on weekends, there was no way I could be home. I had to hike like 13 miles and do all this stuff. Yeah. And now it's like very different.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the $1 million question, very difficult question. How do we notice the signs that we're kind of like leaning too much the other way? And what are your practices when you work with people to kind of shift that?
Yeah. I mean, you can do it really easily with like a food journal, a day journal. Like if we did a calendar right now on Excel, just super basic, and we listed every hour of all the activities we do, whether it was work, traffic, even though we're sitting in a car in New York City is not yin, even though you're sitting, it's heavy yang. But we can start to look at our day very, very simply. And you're going to go, hey, out of all those activities, what are yang? And often this is the other problem, is we can be doing a yin activity intention in a lot of anxiety or stress. So you may have a job where it looks nice and relaxing because you're sitting down, but you're under so much pressure, so much strain. Your nervous system says otherwise. Your nervous system is in fight or flight for that whole day. That's the hard part, but you can probably intuitively know, which hours of the day at work. Cause if you had to intuitively ask, is your nervous system in fear mode, fight or flight, or is it in safety? It should know. And then you look at the diet, and a lot of guys are pure yang. Like speaking of tennis, like Djokovic created his longevity. If you watch any of these guys, they all introduced a lot of plants to create that longevity versus, the old school pasta before dinner, heavy meat diet, which is going to cause a lot of inflammation, may be okay for muscle growth, but is it going to help the duration of your career? And again, it may be really good early.
So write down all your activities. Would you say that the same activity, it really depends on the energy you have behind it? Or is it like, okay, let's say two people are sprinting and one person feels very calm inside and one person's already in fight or flight. Could sprinting be
absolutely
a yin activity?
So you tapped into a really good point. So the real secret of flow state and peak performance is be able to relax in the most tense moment. So what you said is spot on. If you look at Usain Bolt run, you see the wind catch his cheeks. And actually, in my book, I wrote about Kathy Freeman, the Australian sprinter who was, I'm showing my age, but in 2000 Olympics, she was the flag bearer, face of the country, expected to win the 400. If you watched her run that race, she was in another place, and she had the classic, like, so relaxed. It looked like she was going for the morning stroll. She said after the race, she didn't remember the whole thing because she went into such a state of flow, peak performance, and ran a good time. So yeah, one of the best ways to actually keep peak perform at a higher level for a longer period of time is to be able to do the activity in a relaxed or parasympathetic nervous system. And that's what people train. That's why yoga is fantastic, because meditation's on a mat. If you can start to learn to relax and control your breath in yoga, at least now you're moving and it's training you on how to relax in some very difficult positions. And that's one of the arts of the practice that's great. And a lot of people don't do enough yoga, but they should, just for that practice alone, not just, we think yoga from the man's world anyway. Oh, I don't need flexibility. I'm already flexible, whatever it may be. Well, hey, there's a little bit more to it than that.
So how do we get there? Like, how do we get to, you mentioned yoga. Is there a specific breath that you recommend doing when people practice yoga to train for that? And are there other practices?
Yeah, I mean, you know a lot about the breath. The first thing I always train with people in the breath is to do be able to breathe deeply again. Most people do a little shallow. That's one of the first exercises I do. It's very funny. You should do it with clients that are very stressed. Go, hey, do a relaxing breath. And they go up and down. And 9 out of 10 people do that. And actually, my breath coach did that to Tony Robbins. And I thought it was a funny story, and I've always copied it and done it. And so apparently when Tony Robbins had that exercise done to him by Dan Brulé, he said, oh my God, I haven't been able to breathe and relax my whole life, have I? And Dan Brulé kind of laughed and said, no, exactly, that's the point. So I think learning to breathe slowly, deeply, understand how to breathe into the belly, the rib cage expand laterally is like step one, breathe properly, but basic biomechanics. So number one, then teaching people how to breathe without that shallow out all the time, smooth, longer inhales, and just the easiest practice is to just train longer exhales all the time. And I still do that. Like if I'm out surfing and it's a bit big, I feel my heart rate go up and I'm like, I'm not going to surf well with this heart rate. So I'm just trying to anchor it down, trying to almost push it down with the exhale. So I think they're very basic, but they're the best two ways. And then like a lot of good runners will learn how to breathe properly. We'll do nasal breathing as good exercise to just start to train the breath and build awareness. Awareness is the key of all transformation. So just always being aware of the breath. When you run, what's my breath doing? Can I lower that? Can I smoothen it out? Can I soften it? Can I make it easier on the system? Like a wheel, like nice and effortless. The momentum rolls into the next one. So yeah, it's a process, and everyone wants to jump that process. Ice baths do work well because if you don't control your breath, you're going to hurt for the whole 3 minutes. Or if you can learn quickly with fast feedback of pain, it's going to be much easier to sit through 3 minutes.
I think if you're already in a freeze state, an ice bath would be catastrophic for you. You know, like if you're already in that survival mode, it just like takes you to a whole other extreme.
Extra painful. Yeah. If you're already tense and you can't relax the lever of your breath in ice, that is the most painful 3 minutes I can imagine. So and that's why I do like ice, is it's going to train you the breath awareness really quickly. Because if you don't learn, you're going to suffer. So often suffering forces fast change. So yeah, that's one of the tools. But yeah, just everything. I mean, there's good awareness of it on social media, but I'd also be worried about always counting the breath. Because again, we're now doing something. I literally enjoy just to breathe and go, where does my breath want to go in this moment sitting down? And just observe. Don't need to count it. Just go where the body knows where it wants to go. The nervous system, if you let it drive, know where it wants to go. So I don't always do counted breath work because I'm like, hey, I'm in my head again. I'm thinking. I want to just release, feel, be with the moment, not be, was that 4 seconds too fast? Do I need to count slower? Oh, my iPhone went silent, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're breathing or meditating, where's your mind? What are you focusing on?
There's so many types of meditation, and I almost like multi-modalities of meditation. I love some visualization meditation. People say don't look at the past. One of my favorite exercises is do a highlight, just view your whole life, all the things like a movie highlight reel. So I like going backwards. I like going forwards. I like going to the moment. So I kind of don't agree with, hey, you should always just be in the stillness of the moment. Although I think that's probably the staple point of all Eastern philosophy of meditation. We should do that. But I love going into the past. There's a lot we can draw positive from the past. I like to visualize. It's powerful for business, creative, etc. So I don't like to get stuck on one. But if the hardest one and the one no one enjoys is finding blank space and not thinking and just seeing how you can go back to that blank space, or just be aware of the breath or the room. there's so many good strategies of meditation that all have their superpowers. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence, like a Tao philosophy, and saying play with them all because they're all got their magic behind them. And but don't avoid the one you're trying to avoid because that's probably the most important. And normally that's sitting in stillness and doing nothing, just observing. That's the hardest one, and no one wants to do it.
And when you're observing, are you observing the breath? Are you observing your thoughts? Are you observing your body? What are you doing?
Again, I like to cycle that too. I like to observe the room, the space. Like Joe Dispenza is very big on open space. Observe the quantum field, yourself. I mean, yoga nidra is fantastic at just moving energy, and just being aware of the breath. So I do them all. I enjoy the different types. It gives a little bit of variety. Maybe that's a cop out, and I should just do one. But yeah, the mind.
I think it's great. Or ADHD, right? You have to do all the things.
Do it all at once in 1 minute. I'm going to do all 8 in 1 minute is how my brain thinks. Yeah. What if I could do all 8 of those meditations in 90 seconds? That's sellable. That's how my brain naturally thinks. So it's.
Do you work with your ADHD or how do you manage that?
Yeah, so the more I learn this stuff is the more I do try and go into yin because I know the ADH energy isn't 7 days. You cannot perform at the thought speed and intensity all the time. And I've been getting better at it because I would notice I'd have days I call them zombie days, where I'm just like, you'd think I had 25 beers last night. I had none. Like the brain fog, just horrible. And the more I'm able to do yoga nidras and just find 20, 30 minutes to find some yin,
that's a must for me. It's truly like that cured. Well, my burnout is not 100% gone, but it made such a difference.
Yeah. And it sounds cliche, but getting in nature, like I surf, so it's an easy one. It's an activity where I'm active, but it's where I don't think. I'm in the moment, I'm observing, and I still get periods of thought, but nature is, and again, the science is starting to show the power of nature. Like it's not a new concept, but science is starting to back it up. And I mean, Taoists 2,500 years ago always knew they wanted to live by mountaintops and moving water. They understood there was an energetic field and healing that did through their body. And I think Costa Rica, Bali I get off the plane to Bali and I almost start drooling. There's just something that's like, there's something about landscapes that maybe science still doesn't, or definitely doesn't know fully, but yeah, there's magical places. And the easy answer is go live out in Costa Rica. It's probably not too hard. The hard part is how do we do it in Manhattan? How do we do it where there's that intensity? But the requirement for it becomes heavier to find softness, stillness, because you're going out into that energy, that no BS, intense.
Yeah, totally. And what are some of the ways you teach clients to get out of survival mode, out of fight or flight?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is becoming cliche, but obviously get off the phones, find some time where you blocked it out. There's no time, there's no task, there's no doing anything. That's the obvious one that is going to, if you've got that phone in your pocket while you're meditating, while you're doing even a workout, you're not going to be there. Your brain's already there. But also one of the things I talk about in the book is finding playfulness as well, softness, letting go. There's a magic in just loosening up the body, and females are much better at just letting their body loose. Dance. Males need to let go of this as well and just loosen up, soften up, smile, laugh, play. Not everything has to be so serious. So I think getting into that state is magical because most of us walk around so tense mind, tense body, tense breath. They're all interconnected. They all make each other worse. Tense diet, more caffeine. We watch horror every night. Why am I tense? Well, you're hitting density from every possible which way. And there's so many levers. The breath's a lever. The mind's a lever. The mouth, smile, play, joke is a lever. What we listen to is a lever. Nature's a lever. What we're drinking, eating, there's all these levers that can help. And if you don't have a Costa Rica or Bali where I'm heading, try and set up a tranquil space. Like it sounds kind of woo-woo or yoga hippie might be what my world would say that's a bit too far, but it's like, no, find a tranquil space. Look at Japanese architecture. Minimalistic, earth elements. It doesn't just look pretty. There's a magic that happens to our energetic field when we walk into those spaces. So the answers are all there around us. We know we go into a house with a nice water feature. There's a soothing to it. So we can biohack, I hate the word, but we can hack our way and change the quantum field, what it's spitting in at us, because it will change it very, very quick. So then step one becomes, how do I change it every day? And what we call is, you want to be flow ready every day with a playful, regulated nervous system. The bigger challenge is when you are triggered and you're in tense environments, that's like level 2 of the game. Being able to calm down, stay relaxed. Yoga is good for that. Surfing's good for that. I box as well. Boxing's good for that because you're getting punches thrown at you. So if you don't relax, they're going to sense that. So there's a lot of good teachers in life in different wellness activities too, like yoga, boxing, surfing.
I would add dancing.
Dancing's the obvious one.
That's something I've started. It's funny because I really relate. I know you're talking about men, but I really relate to everything you're saying. And I had a hormonal test done, and they basically told me, you're running on testosterone. Like, your testosterone is out, like very low.
Yeah.
And that's just how I've been brought up. Like, achieve more, and being like doing an activity without a purpose, just like for joy, is actually very difficult for me.
Yeah. But what you said is right. I think it isn't just a male issue. It's a societal issue that's now infecting more and more females. The expectation of females has changed now to do way more things. So in some ways you could say females are feeling it more because they've got to now have all the male responsibilities, earn a job, make money, look after the household, nurture a child. So I think there are females feeling the same. And also if the rate of singles keeps increasing, that's only going to keep, then now there's not a union of two people. So it'll be more and more. But I think females have it in their DNA to naturally, culturally, and to dance with each other and loosen up. Where if I'm a male and I'm at the sports club and I start moving my hips, what are they going to say? Oh, you're gay. Don't do that. Get away from me. But also what's interesting is studying all the greatest, because one of the things we did in the book was study all the greatest athletes, musicians, artists. It's like when you actually look at a lot of great athletes or even musicians, they all have a nice feminine touch to them. Michael Jackson had the pure yin yang, his power, but he also had that loose fluidity. And then even like, if you watch Conor McGregor, who's gone off the rails on cocaine benders and gone down a whole yang explosion, when he was at his peak, you would watch him, he would do this like locomoco kind of like rolling around on the body, moving his hips. That's when he was untouchable because he had that yin looseness essence that no one else had. Everyone else was stiff, and he would come up to the ring like that. So I think going back to the way of play, some of the feminine qualities are superpowers to just loosen us up, because the world is just so heavy, tense, agitated, driven. So it's like, how do we loosen up? How do we lighten our energy? Like, it's all in our language. But dance is great. Music is like the most underused superpower, and probably not we probably don't want heavy death metal as our relaxant.
Some people do. I don't know what to say, but
Well, there might be a time for it. But when you're going into a state management, you probably want something softer, because that's super powerful. Actually, I haven't watched the podcast. I was about to watch a podcast on, there's now a lot of science showing. Actually, there is a lot of science on meditation. When you mix meditation, music, and breath, it's far more powerful to get people stuck in sympathetic into the sympathetic. And often one modality alone, they just can't get there. And there's actually great studies. They'll show their system goes to go into parasympathetic and it just won't do it. It'll just bounce back to the alert, stuck state. But when you start to mix all three, that breaks through a lot more frequently. So stacking modalities, I think, is a good thing, and finding that.
Oh, cool. I love that. Well, that makes sense. I've been starting my day every day with, I don't know if you know, on YouTube, Breathe with Sandy. I really like his breath work, and it's like really good music and different types of breath work. But I love it. I love starting my day that way.
Awesome. Yeah.
And breath holds.
Yeah, breath holds is magical, and learning how to relax in a breath hold becomes a little bit of a euphoric feeling. Once you, again, it's
totally
not great at the start because you're watching 20 seconds and going, oh. But yeah, I think, and if you look at the word flow state, it's like you reach flow after struggle. Most people quit everything at life during the struggle, so you never get the reward. Same with breath work. So people think flow state like running or athlete. It's like, no, you get into a flow doing meditation, but there's a struggle that you've got to break through. Otherwise, you don't get it. It's like the reward. It's like the universal reward. We'll give you this blissful state, but you've got to get through the agitation. You've got to get through the struggle, persist, and voila, you'll tap into this flow, peak, effortless, free, blissful state. And it's there available to us all at all times. That's what's crazy is we've all got this amazing free feeling available to us at all times, but most of us never get there once, or a lot of people don't get there for 1 hour a week.
That's a really good life lesson to remember, that if when we get through the struggle on the other side, there's more flow.
So there's a science to that now. And then the other thing we're trying to push is people think flow as either in yoga or on the sporting arena. Like, no, you've flown with friends before. You've flown at home doing nothing. You've flown in the gardening, if that's your thing. There's actually all these different arenas we can tap into this blissful, beautiful state. And the same things that pull us out, it's like, what's the opposite of flow socially? We've all been with a friend that's fighting with her boyfriend or his girlfriend, and they're on their phone. You would have had the worst connection of all time. You know, why did I go to breakfast with that person? Because the nervous system coming in triggered. But if you guys are both relaxed, maybe the phone's on the side, women connect really well. Generally as females, that's one of you guys' things. You guys can tap into high levels of flow really, really easy. And so can men, but we've got a lot more resistance culturally to relax and let go. And we've got to look tough and strong. And there's a time for that. At war, you want to be tough and strong. But there's a time when you want to soften up and be fluid. And I think most people are out of balance, and it's not the optimum way to live.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things about being a woman, is the connection with other women, especially like how we can just banter and, you know, have these amazing conversations and connect. Yeah. It's very hard for men.
Yeah. And the only time men can normally do it is it's socially acceptable. You know, on a World Cup right now, they kick a goal, the men are more in love than the girls. There's a brotherhood. So I think totally helps the gateway. I'm not saying men need to be hugging each other at the local cafe and do it, you know, being females, but there is a beauty in the yin and the way of softening. And that's the whole concept of Tao, is the soft overcomes the hard over time. And the hard is brittle. It's strong early, but it breaks. If you want to live if you want to be happy, longevity, you want to live a long time, you need the balance of the yin. Because yang is, and in nature, yin and yang aren't equal. Yang would be the storm, the fire, you know, that would be, and how long does a fire generally last? Even a bad fire is short term, or a tornado is short term because it's exhausting. The yang's powerful, but exhausting. And that's the same in life. And Taoists believe we should be living in the yin, actually. Our yin should be the natural state that we navigate through life, and we enter short periods of yang when needed, chasing a animal or running away from a tiger. For us, that might be work or doing whatever. But we actually want to, and that's what flow science also says. If you can be in a parasympathetic nervous system, you can be somewhat flow ready to tap in at any time. But where do most people live? Rushed, tense, agitated, overthinking, in the head, which, and I mean, the being stuck in the head is one of the greatest challenges. That now the other stuff's easy to fix. That's all easy in my opinion. The mind's the harder one. How do we control the mind? It always sends us into the yang, the frustration, force. Body can help pull it, as you know, in somatics. But I do think, and I was having a debate with a very well-known sports psychologist, and he's like, we shouldn't do any somatic way. We shouldn't do any therapy. We should just positive think. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I agree with that. I think trying to carry in positive thinking without dealing with a lot of the causes. But I get what he was saying. He's like, hey, we can spend 4 years focused on the past in therapy. It's too much. Again, the middle way. Probably the answer is we should do some therapy. We should do some somatic work, some trauma work. Yeah, we don't want to get stuck for 4 years and it be our identity, but to just go in straight offense and positive thinking, I'm like, I don't know that that's ideal either. But people get so stuck in one way. It's got to be this way or the highway, and this is my secret, and it's the best ever. Everyone else sucks. It's kind of like marketing 101.
Very true. I think that what I've kind of discovered lately, the point of somatic work is what I call disconfirming experiences, which is like an experience in a friendship or in a partnership that is disconfirming your trauma story. But it's very uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, but it is what we want. And so we're doing somatic work to be able to experience that, like trust, love, connection,
Absolutely.
safety.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so that kind of is yin and yang, right? Because man, somatic therapy is very yang. I think it's intense.
Yeah. Which is a needful. And there's a time for yang, there's a time for yin. And the Taoists were all about cycles. The timing was everything. And that's where they didn't rush. They didn't force deadlines too much, even though you have goals, but you use your intuition, which modern society just like push, push, push at all costs. They'd be like, wait, I'm going to wait for the clock to hit 12, perfect timing, then I'll go. So actually that has helped me a lot, even with my business endeavors, is like when I went to launch the book, I'm like, has to launch on X amount of days. And I'm like, why? No one knows about it yet. Why are you sending yourself insane to get it done to this deadline? The Tao is, this is not universal Tao. Chill out. When's better timing? Oh, I've got a trip there. I've got nothing to do. Let's move it back. Where the traditional modern thinking is, no, now, yesterday, launch it early, go, go, go. And when you learn to live the life without constantly forcing and rushing everything, and I'm the ADHD, I'm the worst at rushing. I rush to walk. I rush doing everything. Eat. I eat faster than a dog. I still do that. But the bliss I experience when I don't rush is like, oh my God, this is what it was like to not, and I don't live in that state, sadly, all the time, but I would love to get there with hopefully some wisdom along the journey.
We all have more to discover, right? It's never done.
Sadly not. I want to finish it tomorrow, but
that'd be so boring.
It would, actually. It would.
You want it, but then if you had it, it'd be so boring.
Yeah.
But I get that.
It'd be like the Truman Show.
Yes, exactly. So are there any other principles from the book that we haven't covered?
I mean, yin and yang's the first concept to know. Understanding how to tap into flow is paramount. And then probably the only other thing is you want to build in what we call the flow spectrum. Like most people live in stuck or rigid, frustrated. And then you start to be able to let go for certain periods and you can experience what the world knows as a state of flow, a flow state for an hour, listening to a song, maybe going for a walk, playing with your dog. These are all short-term flows, which is great. Then on, I guess, and a more spiritual level, the science isn't as strong on this, but Taoist philosophy is when you start following, the Tao means the way of you, the way of, a duck's way is very obvious. Everyone just bees a duck. The humans are the only ones that have to figure it out, which is very difficult. What is my way? What is my natural path? How do I fit into the ecosystem with my natural talents? But what the philosophy is when you learn to really strip back, find balance, find who you are and follow the way, you'll actually create flow or momentum of flow and have incredible seasons. And a flow season would be where everything just ties in. Like you find that house in Costa Rica when there was nothing available at the last minute and you have an incredible time there and you have to go down to get a quick coffee or you run out of salt and you meet someone that you connect with that ends up being your business partner. That is the alignment of what they would call a flow season. And if you're super dense and stuck, you probably don't experience flow state or season because you're not attracting anything. The field becomes stronger. And then eventually you want to live a flow life. Doesn't mean you won't have challenges, but you're always working with the timing, the natural laws of yin and yang, who you really are, where you're aligned, where you're not. Wait for signs, like I call it the matrix, follow the white rabbit. The Tao of the universe is going to constantly give you signs if you're aware enough to see them. So I'd say that's the journey of stuck to flow to seasons, this incredible life flow. And it's driven by alignment, yin and yang balance, good health, good vibration, being light, and a lot of the cliches. And there's more and more science coming out about this, but the more positive you are, the more you see the awe in basic things, the more appreciative you are, better things happen. And they're actually starting to show this in sport now. Like I had one of my buddies was the ex-Australian Commonwealth Games coach, and he's a flow coach. And we used to have this thing where we'd watch athletes pre-game, and we could tell by their verbiage when they started talking about inspired, awe, appreciation, and gratitude. We're like, they're going to win. Like, and the probability of our success, we should have started a betting agency because we could literally spot when people are in this peak state, and there's neurochemicals that support this, which do support flow, life gets better. So the lens of how you see things, I think that's the ever-ending part of yin and yang, the mindset, our vibration, navigating through life. That would be the simplicity of of Tao and what we're trying to articulate in a modern way.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, the synchronicities, they're so much fun.
Yeah, when you're aware enough and in a state to pay attention, and you realize some of these could not have been statistically, it was impossible. Like that's the magic of life. And actually, I had one spiritual, because I was moving to America and I had nowhere to house my dog. My dog was my life, and it was the next day I was leaving, and my housemate's like, "Hey, I can do it for a month, but like we cannot do this." Anyway, one of my buddies just showed up randomly. He goes, "Hey, I thought I was going to pop in and see you before I left." I'm like, "Oh, cool, thanks for popping by." He goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I still don't have a place for Arnold." He goes, "You're giving him away? I'll take him." Takes him, gives him the best home. He's now got a mum, a dad that adore him. They post on social every day. I see this spirit dog I had for many years daily. And I remember walking out. I don't know if it was a figure of my imagination, but something, whether it was God, the Tao, a spirit, just laughed at me and goes, "You didn't doubt me, did you?" Of course I was going to provide as you needed it. So that's just like one example of us like, there's a power that no one maybe knows that can work in our favor when we're aligned, but it doesn't seem to show up when we're cursing, carrying on, whinging, complaining, sad. The things don't seem to show up.
Very true. Well, thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure. And where can people find your book and any other ways to get more of your work?
Yes. I mean, you just look me up on Instagram and you'll find me in the book at just davenelson.official. Well, the book's called The Tao of Flow, and it's on Amazon to start. But yeah, you might be either of those.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.